Thousands of retirees do everything right. They save for decades, they contribute to their accounts religiously, they retire comfortably, and then, suddenly, they run out of money. And the scary part? Most of them never saw it coming. We are often taught that if we hit a certain magic number in our bank account, we are safe for life. But the data shows a different story. Retirement doesn't usually fail in year 1. It fails in years 7 to 15. It's a slow motion car crash that starts with a few small mistakes and ends in a financial crisis. In this video, you'll discover the biggest reasons retirees go broke and how to make sure it never happens to you. If you are between 18 and 50, this is the most critical information you can learn today because the rules of retirement have changed and the old path is now a dead end. There is a massive retirement illusion that keeps people trapped in a false sense of security. We've been sold the dream that retirement is a finish line where you stop working and start living off a pile of cash. But a pile of cash is not a strategy. The traditional retirement dream often hits a wall of reality because people assume that $1 million or $2 million is an infinite amount of money. In today's economy, $1 million is not what it used to be. The idea that a single number alone guarantees safety is the first myth we need to shatter. Retirement lasts much longer than people expect. With advances in healthcare, it's not uncommon to spend 30 or even 40 years in retirement. If you retire at 65, you might need your money to last until you are 100. Most retirement savings plans are simply not built for that kind of longevity. Furthermore, inflation quietly destroys buying power every single day. What costs $5 today will cost $12 in the future. On top of that, spending often increases in the early years of retirement as people try to make up for lost time. But the biggest danger isn't spending too much. It's something retirees don't even realize they're doing. This leads us to reason number 1, the early retirement spending trap. The first 5 to 10 years of retirement are often called the go-go years. This is the travel phase where retirees finally take those cruises, buy the motorhome, or upgrade the house. There is a psychological release that happens when you stop working, and it often leads to a massive spike in lifestyle costs. Many retirees also feel a sudden urge to help their family financially, whether it's paying for a grandchild's college or helping their children with a down payment on a home. These bucket list expenses feel manageable at the time, but they have a compounding negative effect. Many retirees burn through 30 to 40% of their savings before they even realize what's happening. They assume they can just tighten their belt later, but by then the principal of their investment has been so severely depleted that it can no longer generate the returns needed to sustain them. While overspending is a major issue, it's often not the primary thing that destroys most retirements. The second reason is the silent killer known as inflation. Inflation is the invisible tax that eats your wealth while you sleep. Retirees are particularly vulnerable because they often shift toward fixed income investments like bonds or CDs. While these feel safe, they rarely keep pace with the rising costs of living. When you are working, your salary usually increases over time to match inflation. When you retire, that pay raise disappears. Healthcare inflation is even more aggressive than standard inflation, often rising at double the rate of everything else. Think about it this way. If you need $50,000 a year to live today, that same lifestyle might cost $80,000 or $90,000 in 20 years. If your income doesn't grow, your quality of life must shrink. Retirees underestimate inflation more than anything else, assuming that their expenses will go down as they age. In reality, while you might spend less on clothes or commuting, you will spend significantly more on services and medical care. But there's an even bigger risk that can wipe out years of savings almost overnight. Reason number 3 is the sequence of returns trap. This is perhaps the most technical but most devastating factor in retirement failure. To understand this, you have to realize that the order in which you earn your investment returns matters more than the average return itself. If the stock market crashes in the first 3 years of your retirement and you are forced to sell your investments to pay for your life, you are locking in those losses. You are selling at the bottom. This means you have fewer shares left to grow when the market eventually recovers. Two people can invest the same way, have the same average return over 20 years, and one can retire rich while the other goes broke simply because of the timing of the market. If the bad years happen early, the math becomes impossible to overcome. This sequence risk makes your retirement savings extremely fragile during the transition from working to retired. Losses become permanent when you are withdrawing money in a down market, and this next mistake is one almost every retiree makes. Reason number 4 is having no actual income plan. There is a massive difference between between having retirement savings and having a sustainable income. Most people focus entirely on the size of their nest egg, but they have no strategy for how to take the money out. They treat their savings like a giant vat of water and just dip a bucket in whenever they need a drink. Without a withdrawal strategy, you are just guessing. Random withdrawals are the fastest way to deplete an account. You need to understand sustainable withdrawal rates, like the 4% rule, but you also need to adapt that rule to changing market conditions. Smart retirement planning involves shifting the focus from the total balance to the cash flow generated by dividends, interest, and passive income. Retirement isn't about having money, it's about having income that shows up every month regardless of what the stock market is doing. If you don't have a plan that turns your assets into a paycheck, you are just waiting for the day the well runs dry. Number of reasons 5 entails unforeseen costs that destabilize the financial system. Life continues after retirement. Medical situations are the biggest cause, followed by house repairs and family issues. Roof replacement or automobile death might take up a large portion of a retiree's money. Many in their 50s and 60s are in the sandwich generation, caring for elderly parents and struggling adult children. Long-term care costs are also huge. Assisted living can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, which most individuals haven't budgeted for. One major expense might ruin a beautiful strategy. The worst retirement mistake isn't money-related. Number of reasons psychological expenditure is 6. Retirement is a time vacuum. Boredom results from working 40-60 hours a week to having no fixed hours. Boredom often leads to consumption. Lifestyle creep occurs here. People buy pricey hobbies, join exclusive clubs, or make emotional purchases to feel accomplished. Identity influences spending. If you are a high-powered executive, you may feel the need to preserve an expensive image despite no longer earning it. Behavioral risk, not math, is the main retirement danger. If you can't control your psychological need to spend to fill the gap of a working life, no amount of money will help. How do you detect trouble? Crisis warning signs exist. If your savings are disappearing quicker than expected, or your withdrawals are rising every year to pay bills, you are at danger. Having retirement debt is another red flag. If a large amount of your monthly income goes to interest, you have no margin for mistake. Finally, if market declines make you panic and want to yank everything out, your plan isn't strong enough to handle volatility. If any of these sound similar, your retirement can be in jeopardy. Fortunately, smart retirees take care to avoid these traps. They start with multiple income streams. Their sources include Social Security and 401ks. They seek dividends, rentals, or part-time consultancy for cash. Withdrawals are handled second. They spend according to the 3 to 4% rule, but might cut in weak markets to defend their principal. They invest third. Can't save everything and hope it lasts. Growth matters since retirement could last 30 years. Fighting inflation requires equity exposure. Fourth, they plan 30 plus years. Want to be 100, not 80. This lifetime planning changes asset allocation. Finally, they create a flexible spending plan that differentiates needs and wants, letting them cut back without guilt. Making the mental change that retirement is a new and dynamic financial period is crucial. Your money must work as hard as you. Income is more crucial than savings, and disciplined planning beats guesswork. Retirement funds rarely run out unexpectedly. It happens slowly and covertly due to inflation retreat and market timing risks. Many retirees who run out of money didn't save enough. Because they didn't plan for after the retirement party, they failed. Start planning your income strategy before you need it to ensure your retirement assets last forever. Your 30s and 40s will determine whether you spend your 60s and 70s comfortably or in financial fear. Respect retirement math now to secure your future.